this is the spoiler section, so none of you have seen the original, huh?
No.
Okay.
Wait,
damn.
no, you saw the
I saw
original.
The Seven
The
Samurai.
Seven Samurai. So the reason why I didn't go with a 9, and I really wanted to give it stronger. I wanted to like this movie more than I did, but I don't want that to change your opinion because it's already up there in upper echelons of Western films. You know, I don't feel it's as good as films like 310 to Human, True Grit, in terms of character development and all that stuff. The action far better, but in that terms not good. And then so here is why the original worked better, even with sort of the cheesy, over dramatic acting that they kind of did that style back then. Some of the characters were actually better in the original. There was no young character like there was in the original Magnificent Seven, where it kind of grounded the film. He ended up having a connection to the town, falling in love with somebody in the town. There was no love story in this, which I appreciate that. I actually don't need no love story there, right?
No.
And nobody, we're all men, I guess. Nobody wants a damn love story.
more.
There's no,
Not without
you can't get no
I actually
females
thought
here.
that was gonna happen after the.
You thought it was?
Yeah, after
Oh, Pratt
the
was shooting some
It was
glares.
love.
It's like, I
at
had
some
a
girl
thought
that was the
there.
lover.
Hey.
Right, but no, that
was
girl
like, oh,
was
good.
grieving after her, and let's talk about that. So in the original, I felt it was stronger because the townspeople go and they're like, okay, we need to hire him, right? We need to hire some people, but they don't really have a lot because they're poor, they're farmers. These people had enough money, and it was kind of brushed over. You never really knew how much money they had.
It was enough
but
to
why
turn
would
their
these
heads,
7 guys who aren't really all that much friends with each other, you didn't feel the friend connection as the original had. The original, the main guy in black, the bounty hunter, he got his friends to show up who happened to be in the same town, and then when he goes searching, remember how they were searching for people? Then a random Indian shows up, you know? I hate white people and white men, and you've been butchering and obliterating my people, but I'll join you, you know? I don't know about that, you know? So, but here it was his friends, and you can tell that in the original Magnificent Seven, everybody had, you know, stuff that maybe they weren't too proud of. And this was their opportunity to set it right, you know? And they started to get personally invested in the town. One guy, there was 2 little boys who looked up to him, and he'd, you know, don't be like me, and they'd be like, I wish my father wasn't a coward, you know, and strong like you, and he gets a kid. He gives a spanking, you know, on screen. This is the 50s or the 60s. But, you know, child abuse, don't ever say that again, you know. And it's like, you can tell he cares about the kids. He's like, your father is the bravest man that I've ever seen because, you know, he's standing up to an army. He's not a gunslinger like we are, you know. And the original had a twist. The original had the townspeople. Originally, the Magnificent Seven show up, and they... boom, 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 they just fucking wreck. And they get the town to help them. And so they beat the army head on. And then the army leaves. And there's this great feeling of euphoria. It's like, whoa, we did it. Everything's cool. Everything's good. But then later on, it turns out that the guys come back and the town betrays the Magnificent Seven. And so even though they are better than the army, they get basically ambushed in the guns and they have to give up their guns. And so the villain gets to sort of talk to them and goad them on and say, you know, you thought those are local. I like you. You kill a lot of my men. You know, man, we could use people like you. You know, that kind of stuff. And that's just more connection to the villain, more connection to the town, and then eventually, you know, these men realize, okay, we're betrayed, and he's like, no, you get out of here, like in shame. And they walk off, and they're like, no man tells me, you know, what, or something like that. It was something dramatic. We're going back there. And it's like, one of his friends, it was like, you fucking kidding me? I'm not going back there, you know? Because one of the guys was in it for gold. I thought that's kind of what they were going to do with the Ethan Hawke character, because he was like, you know, what's in it? Is there some gold? Or is it? That's what one of the characters was. All he cares about, he's like, is there gold in it? And the bounty hunter is like, no, actually, I know, you just don't want to tell me, right? No, there's no gold. They don't have
There's
much,
nothing there.
so you're gonna get about $7. Yeah, but you're hiding something. And then he just walks off, and he participates in the whole thing, not listening, thinking that there's some gold here. And eventually, when he dies, does something heroic. He's like, "Did we win?" He's like, "Yeah, we won." He's like, "There was some gold." Wasn't there?" He was like, "Yeah, there was a lot of gold."
Yeah,
He's like,
it's
"Yeah."
amazing.
And
I wanna see
you
it.
need to see the original. It is so
Yeah, I need to see
fucking
it
good.
too. I
So
really do.
that's how it compares to the original. The characters' connections with each other were stronger. But the action scenes were nowhere near in this realm. If the action is a 10 out of fucking 10 in this film, the character development was a 10 out of 10 in the original. Yeah. So you guys want to talk about spoilers? Who dies? Who lives? Joe? Were you sad anybody died? Who did you want to live? Obviously, I want Denzel to live because he's the main character.
He's the main
I
one.
wanted Denzel and Chris Pratt because Chris Pratt is fucking awesome.
I wanted the assassin to survive.
I want Ethan Hawke to survive.
Really?
Yeah, because I
The
thought,
Confederate
all right,
sniper.
he's gonna be the coward, but he's gonna come back and he's gonna save everybody
Right.
and be cool. And
I
it's
mean,
like,
he kind of
holy
did.
shit.
He saved
Yeah,
Come back.
He was like, yo, they have a goddamn Gatling
Yeah,
gun.
and if he didn't warn them, they'd probably been out in the
all
open.
done. All done. Because everybody was outside because we were winning.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I didn't think he'd die for that. I thought that was his redemption, was coming
Yeah.
back, and then he'd be able to live with it.
I
and
wish
be
that they would have
happy.
given Ethan Hawke and the knife the assassin a little more glorious death, but I respected how it was realistic. It's like, okay, those two snipers are up there shooting
out the
everybody,
fucking
Gatling
tower.
gun,
Well, the
steeple.
thing is,
Boom, 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 boom.
they could have. It was a team effort to take the Gatling gun out because they were sitting there like, okay, I know there's a bunch of people over here, but let me turn over here and get these guys off.
Oh,
first
that's
crack.
right.
So they were.
that's
They kept.
right.
They kept going till they were all done. And
So who has the most glorious
glorious
death? Angry Beard.
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt has the most glorious death, and it was amazing. I know we're in the spoiler section, but I almost don't even want to spoil it for you in the spoiler section.
It was really good.
It was really good. Go
No
see the
spoilers,
film for that
no
one.
spoilers.
Even though people who are here for it have already seen the film, you know how cool it was. So it was fucking awesome. It was heroic, and so yeah, basically, and that's the thing, is that these men in this new film had less reason to really do this. It almost felt like Denzel's character was a little more selfish. Like, he has motivation.
yeah.
And the rest of them don't really, I mean, I guess some of the money was good enough.
And the horse.
The horse, yeah, their motivations were
Well,
not as good.
They were just trying to do a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
Yeah.
what their motivation was.
But
They saw
what
the
I'm saying
talent
is,
and
in
heroin.
comparison to the original, it doesn't come through. The originals, where it's like these men have this turning point where it's like, you know, we're already one guy makes like. He just chopping wood just to eat breakfast, and he's like $7 a day. That's a lot of money, you know. When he in his heyday as an assassin, you get like $200 a day or something like that. But he just does it. But then over time, you know, I think they do it for free or something like that. So, anyways. Fantastic film. I know we were kind of just saying, oh, it's not as good as the original, but that shows you the strength and why the IMDb rating of the original Magnificent Seven is so high. So yeah, I'm really curious to see how people take to this new film. Yeah, anything else? Fucking awesome.
I loved
I
it.
mean,
Loved it. Go out and see it in
You got
theaters.
something?
personally, it was the fight scene between the two Indian dudes. I wanted a little more.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So the Indian, there's
Red
actually an
Harvest.
Indian on the bad guy's
Yep.
side, and he's like sort of his second-hand man general. You know, I expected him to be scalping people. He doesn't, but he kills one of the most beloved Magnificent Seven characters. So you're like, I want this motherfucker to die.
Yeah.
And when I saw these two go up, you're like, okay, we're gonna get some.
Because I was like,
savage
yo, we're getting some
fighting. It's gonna be awesome. But no, this Indian stood no chance against our good guy. Like no chance. He's like, shit, sit.
And he tried to put
shit, shit, and just kicks him off like
Yeah,
nothing.
you're a disgrace.
Oh,
You're a
disgrace.
Come on.
So yeah, I wanted more there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So shit, that's why I was thinking you about 7. You know, 7 out of 10. I might be, as we're here in the spoiler
going-
section,
like I said, like,
we're
there were
convincing
things
ourselves of these
in it.
original things.
Because
but this is our love
Yeah.
of these types of movies. So you know,
And the other thing I have is I wanted one more bad guy scene. Because like
With-
he came,
yeah,
because
he's
he
not
came
in it
in,
very
he,
much.
he killed. Like let's go with like rules of a bad guy,
Yeah.
right? To be hated, right? You do unnecessary stuff. You know what I mean?
He does that in
So
the
he was
beginning.
like, "Hey, you talk shit. Let me show you what happens when you talk shit."
Yeah.
Boom, and then everyone else pulled and they got chopped. So it's not like he just went and slaughtered innocent people. If he would have shut up, they would have all been alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I wanted.
you want it even slimier than that.
I want some.
Yeah.
This is a western. You know what I mean? Like, I want some.
I
good
agree.
stuff.
I agree.
You know what?
I expected
Because
him
of
to
how
hurt
brutal
me.
He
he
should
was.
have pulled a Patriot. You know, in the
Yes!
Patriot.
I was just about to say that. I
When
was
they
like,
fucking
you know what?
lock the doors
Locked
and
it.
burn the fucking.
Here's what he
church.
could have done. The ones that would have resisted is like, no, fuck, my land is worth 3 times that. You can't do that. He's like, you know what? You're right. You're
Just
right.
go back in the church.
You're right. Let's say y'all over here, $60. The rest of y'all over here, we'll do a deal and I'll get y'all, some money later. So they go out. He splits up the weak from the ones that want to fight, and then he's like, okay, so let's write out our contracts. Everybody stay here in the church. Burn this motherfucker down, right? And then exactly Patriot style, kill all those people, and then that would give the town this motivation to, okay, let's hire some people, let's go kill them, and let's not betray them because our dad died and this guy died and this guy died because they took the originals 2 battles with the main villain and combined them to just one epic battle at the end. When I think it works better as the 2 different battles, the betrayal and then the turnaround of not only the Magnificent Seven but also the town to overcome the final battle. So yeah, awesome film. Both awesome films. Go watch the original. Go watch this one in theaters right now, and we'll see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show. Partner.
Move that one back over there.
The